Believe it or not, triads are something that you already know. If you think of the words triangle, tricycle, and triad, they all start with the word tri, which means three. So a triad is a three-note chord. Notice that I said it's a chord made of three unique notes. I didn't say it's a three-string chord. So the D major chord is a triad, even though it's played with four strings. The A major chord is a triad, even though it's played with five strings. And the A minor chord is a triad, even though it's played with five strings. If you look at the notes of a D major chord, you'll find the open D string is a D note, the second fret of the G string is an A note, the third fret of the B string is a D note, and the second fret of the high E string is an F sharp note. So even though this chord is played with four notes and four strings, the chord is made of only three unique notes. The D note is played twice, once with the open D string and a second time on the third fret of the B string. So the notes of the D major chord are D, A, D, F sharp. Now look at the notes of the A major chord. The open A string is an A note, the second fret of the D string is an E note, the second fret of the G string is an A note, the second fret of the B string is a C sharp note, and the open high E string is an E note. So even though this chord is played with five notes and five strings, this chord is made of only three unique notes. With the A major chord, the A and E notes are played twice. The A note is played on the open A string and the second fret of the G string, and the E note is played on the second fret of the D string and the open high E string. So the notes of the A major chord are A, E, A, C sharp, E. Now look at the A minor chord triad. The open A string is an A note, the second fret of the D string is an E note, the second fret of the G string is an A note, the first fret of the B string is a C note, and the open high E string is an E note. Once again, even though this chord is played with five notes and five strings, the chord is made of only three unique notes. In the A minor chord, the A and E notes are played twice. The A note is played on the open A string and the second fret of the G string, and the E note is played on the second fret of the D string and the open high E string. So the notes of the A minor chord are A, E, A, C, E. If you ever want to know if a chord is a triad, just figure out how many unique notes are in that chord. So how could you build these chords anywhere on the guitar? Well, the major scale is made of this step pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So if you start on an A note and use this step pattern, you'll build an A major scale. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. And then it would repeat again starting with an A. A major chord is made from the root note, major third, and perfect fifth. So you can quickly look at the major scale, choose the first, third, and fifth notes, and you'll know which notes are in the A major chord. Those notes would be A, C sharp, and E. Now how do you make a minor chord? Well, just think of the words major and minor. If someone told you there was a major problem, you'd think it was a pretty big problem. If someone told you there was a minor problem, you'd think it was a smaller problem. So when you hear the word minor, think smaller. Minor chords are the same as major chords except for one difference. The third note of the major scale is dropped by one semitone, or in other words, it's one half step smaller. So in a major chord, there's the root note, major third, and a perfect fifth. If you take the first, third, and fifth notes of the A major scale, you'll have the notes A, C sharp, and E. To turn that into a minor chord, make the C sharp note one half step smaller. So you turn the C sharp note into a C note. And the notes of the A minor chord would be A, C, and E. You'll end up with an A minor chord that looks like this. Notice that there's only one difference between the A major chord and the A minor chord. This one note is lowered by one half step. You'll see something similar with the D major chord and the D minor chord. Notice the note on the high E string. Or the E major chord and the E minor chord. notice the note on the G string. I hope this gives you a better understanding of major and minor triads. Major triads are built from the root note, major third, and perfect fifth of the scale. Minor triads are built from the root note, minor third, and perfect fifth of the scale. Now you can understand the chords you're playing much better and use this to create chords on the spot.